Hello, problem solvers. Today we're going to talk about a question I got this week from someone that just took Greenbelt training, but what they're finding is that they're overwhelmed with all the different tools that are out there. They say, how can I narrow it down to those tools that are going to give me the biggest benefit for me to learn, for me to master, for me to move forward in my continuous improvement journey? Now, whether you're in manufacturing or transactional or service industries, there are some tools that you should start your continuous improvement journey on, simple tools that you can start to build up so that you can do better and better things. And I narrowed this 80/20, as I would think of it, to 5 tools. So we're going to talk about 5 tools today, and then I'll talk a little bit about what are some of the actions that you can take this week, next week, to move you forward in your knowledge of these tools. So let's go down that list of 5. My number 5 is control charts. So control charts are really powerful run charts. They allow you to really understand what's going on with your process, but also to see if the things that you're doing had an impact, right? So you're able to really use these tools very dynamically, whether you're monitoring a process or whether you're implementing changes and want to see if they've had an impact. Now, they're also fantastic in that while they have a lot of data in there, they are really easy for management to understand. So these are tools that are really good when you're early on in your data journey, but you have enough continuous data that you can go ahead and put them on a run chart, put that control chart on top of it. This is going to be a really great skill for you to learn. It's going to make you look really fancy and like you really know what you're talking about. So that's my number 5. For number 4, it's a simple one. It's brainstorming and affinity diagrams. So when you're doing continuous improvement over and over again in a whole myriad of situations, you are going to need to learn to brainstorm with your team. You're going to need to work to put them in a yes and state so that you can get the best ideas from them. Now, we most commonly do this in our improve phase, right? In our improvement brainstorming and identifying solutions once we understand those root causes, hopefully. And so, what we have to do here is get all of those ideas on the board, the best ideas on the board, quantity over quality, and we're going to narrow those down. But before we narrow those down, we need to do some grouping. And this is going to be common in almost every brainstorming activity that you're going to do. If you do a downtime or Tim Woods brainstorming, it's the same thing. You're going to need to do some reconciliation. So getting used to doing those brainstorming activities and getting used to theming those up or getting those grouped up so that you're narrowing down to those things you want to focus on. Now, there is a great book for this. And I've been sharing this book a bit. Let's make sure this doesn't fall over. This is that creativity sprint, right? Your creativity sprint from Ruth Stanley. So this is a great place. If you need ideas about brainstorming, go ahead and check that out. That's a really good book for brainstorming. The next one, my number 3. Number 3 is going to be the fishbone charts, right? The fishbone diagrams. Now, you may have heard this be the Ishikawa diagram. This might be called in other places the cause and effect, the CNX. We have like 80 names for it. But this is another tool that I really debated, hey, should I say 5Y or fishbone? If I was just going to narrow it down to those most important tools, I'm going to say fishbone. And here's why. Because when we do that 5Y, it's often that very simple one-to-one relationship. And you should master those 5 whys and get used to asking those whys. But in a similar way, you're going to ask those whys or understand those causes in your fishbone activity. You're also going to get a lot of inputs and variables up on the board. So you want to get used to asking those questions, whether the 6 M's or the 6 P's, to get those different inputs, get those different causes, those variables up on the board. The other reason I include this one is because, like the control chart, management loves to see this. So when you put up a 5Y and it's just got those 5 points, that can be something that's, it's nice, it's interesting. It's usually not more than the management team already knows. But the fishbone they can look at, they can understand it usually fairly simply, and they can really get excited about it because it has more information than they may have realized. So this can be a really powerful tool and a really good one for you to master because it's going to make you look good as you move forward with your projects. Now, that second tool that you're going to want to go after is DMAIC. So that's our number two is DMAIC, or structured problem solving. If you use PDCA, if you use A3, if you use CADA, those are all fantastic as well. What we're building here is scientific thinking and structured problem solving so that your brain is thinking in a continuous improvement way. We're setting that structure for you, almost like that skeleton for you that you can build on top of, that you can add these other tools to. So if you can get that structured problem solving practice really solid, where you can move through those different phases or the different ways of thinking, then that's going to really enable you to pull in all kinds of tools as you need to. The way I think of it with continuous improvement isn't that you need to master every tool, but you need to understand kind of what tools are out there to decide when you need to go and pull that into your team, when that's going to be a tool that's going to work best for you. And sometimes that means taking tools and testing them out and see what works and what doesn't. But if you have that strong structured problem solving approach, then it makes it easy for you to flex in and out of that. The other piece of structured problem solving is really getting good at defining our problem statement. Right? So, what you want to do as well when you're doing this is to make sure that you get really comfortable in stating what the problem is, making that really simple. Now, I do have a problem statement generator. I'll add the link to the comments in this video if you want to take a look at that. It does make it easy to break that down, but I want you to give that a try and see how many things that you can pull in. It can be at home, it can be at work, but just get some of that practice doing that problem statement generation for your structured problem solving tool, for the projects that you could go on and do, or the efforts that you could go on and pursue. Now we're down to number one. So, what's that top tool that I say, go after this tool, and this is going to be the best one for you to get started in? You may not be surprised here. It would be that downtime tool, WASTE, or Tim Woods, some organizations use. That's going to be the tool that's going to be the easiest one for you to start to master, and the easiest one for you to start to get some quick wins. And as you get those quick wins, you are going to gain confidence. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you confidently going out there and being able to explain these concepts, being able to identify some of those opportunities so that you can have the biggest impact that you can have in your organization. Now, those are the top five. I think they're fantastic. I think that's an 80-20 of what you can get started with to make you the most powerful green belt that you can be as you get started, right? Because you're not going to master everything immediately. So if you have taken green belt or another course and you're saying, Amanda, what do I get started with? Let's start with that downtime tool. And in that downtime tool, the first thing that you're going to need to do is to get used to explaining what is value, what is non-value, right? What is value added? What is non-value added? What is required non-value added, right? So get really used to explaining those 3 C's of our value added pieces. And I'll link the video where I talk a little bit more about those. So get used to talking about what's value added and what's not value added and explaining those 8 wastes. You can use downtime, you can use Tim Woods, but get used to it because it's not about you mastering it and you knowing what they are. It's about you actually explaining it and sharing it with the organization. The more you do that, the more success you're going to have, the more confidence you're going to build. So go out, do some Gemba walks, go out, talk to people about what is value and non-value added steps. Make sure to always share with them as well that it's not about calling out mistakes. It's not about getting people in trouble. It's really just understanding what is adding the most value. Even in Toyota, the majority of our steps are non-value added, right? So this is a chance for you to go out there, experiment, but also talk to others and get used to using the language of continuous improvement. And this is the big thing, is learning how to say these things out loud. And I know that might sound kind of funny, but it's getting used to having those sayings, getting that thing in your mind where it's just routine for you to be able to talk about value and non-value added steps, for you to be able to say, defects, overproduction, waiting, not using people well, transportation, inventory, motion, and excess processing. And you don't have any lag in your brain because you've just said it so many times. So, what I want you to go out and do, if you are saying, hey, I want to try this, I want to get better in my practice, start with downtime. And I want you to talk to 5 people this week about value and non value added steps. This could be on a Gemba walk, this could be one on one, this could be people at home, but get used to having that conversation with sharing that with others and start to identify what some of that waste is. The next week or the week after, go ahead and try one of those structured problem solving tools. Go deeper, whether it's at home or at work. Try those tools out. Get used to using those tools. Get used to explaining those tools to other people. The more you teach others about this, the easier it's going to get for you. And then you'll be able to flex in those other ones, right? The fishbone, the brainstorming, the control charts. And those are going to be the most powerful ones for you to show your project to management and them to say, wow, this looks like you've done a lot. This is a lot of information for me to consume and think about. And this is a lot of stuff that convinces me that we do want to move forward with whatever improvements that you've identified. So hopefully that helps you think about what are those top tools that you want to go after you've completed a green belt or a continuous improvement course, because I want to see you out there and actually leading continuous improvement, making good improvements, inspiring others to go after it. If you do have other things that you'd be keen on me talking about as well, please drop me a message. I'm happy to make more videos or to talk about any of the maybe more specific challenges that you've experienced. Have a great day.